I feel like the theme of connection kind of underlies a lot of what you've said so far. Can you tell me about your influence in adding connection to the Navy leadership development model?
Yeah. So you see there's a theme here. I had so much conviction. I felt so strongly about this, that this theme that uh, the best environment to lead is a leader where a leader feels connected. Right. So I thought that was so compelling and it worked so much. It helped me so immensely. Uh, those that were willing to share their story with me. And then, as I was able to share my story with others as it continued, that when I was in command, I made that one of my leadership tenets. So we are often asked in command when we're in charge of our own ship, to create our own leadership philosophy.
Mhm.
And most commanding officers have like a one pager they post around the ship, or they have like their theme, and it keeps everyone united to say what this captain's leadership focus is. But the Navy does a good job, as any big organization might, to give a framework for that. To
Mhm.
say this is what this organization stands for, and maybe you in your small division might have your own adaptation. So the Navy's big framework, when I took command, was had two characteristics, and it was deliberately developing character and deliberately developing competence.
Mhm.
And it was about a 10-page document, and it had this framework of how you develop character and how you develop competence, and how a good leader sets the tone to develop those traits in their subordinates and also develops them in themselves. And so it was a good framework. And that was about, like I said, a 10-page document called Navy Leader Development Framework. And when I took command, it was on its version 2.0. It was called V
Okay.
2.0. Um, and that was written for 600,000 people. Like that's how many people are in the Navy, civilians and military. And for my crew of 60 people, there's only my small crew. Um, I had a little acronym I came up with it. I called it D2C3, and it
Mhm.
was just trying to keep it simple. You're trying to have fun with it, and you got sailors who are distracted by everything they need to be getting doing. They don't want to memorize your leadership philosophy. They've got work to do, and
Yeah.
they're just like, "All right, Captain, what do I got to say to make this
Uh,
thing?" You know. So I thought it was catchy to call it
yeah.
D2C3. And what I had done is I had taken the Chief of Naval Operations framework, and I put it down to very short acronym, and I'd added a third C. I'd added connections, because connections. So and then every week I would have a all hands call, or I would be like, okay, I had a coin for each of the C's, and I would give out a character coin, a competence coin, and a connection coin if I could every week. And I would
Mhm.
say, here's an example of somebody who deliberately created connection, and they went out of their way for this other sailor and took their watch for them.
Mhm.
Or here's an example of a sailor who deliberately developed competence. Like it's not his job to stand to learn this, but he went above and beyond and learned. You know,
Mhm.
so that was deliberately developing competence in that case,
Mhm.
or character. Somebody who made a mistake, and they could have hidden the mistake, but they want us all to learn from it. And so I was like, this is developing our integrity, and we could all, let's come on forward, tell us that story about this mistake you made and how you came through it. And here's a character coin. Um, so that in that way, I was able to shape the tone of the command, because it was a brand new command. And then, having felt like that was really good runtime,
Yeah.
those 60 sailors, I did give feedback to the chief of naval operations at the time, was Admiral Richardson. And I said, hey, sir, I think you could add a third C to your to your framework. And he did. And I wrote that third C.
Yeah.
And
Wow,
then
very
we've
cool.
collaborated since then, which has been really fun.